What we do with this voting app is to show the amount of votes received by each candidate who come forward for the election in a chart. Also, the voters who can come forward to vote are registered during this time. We need to create two tables as candidates and voters to store the data given when the voters register, as well as the amount of votes each candidate receives. We give the name of the table which we are going to create for as table name in the data browser section. Let's type as candidates. Okay, now we can create the table. I need two columns to indicate the name of the candidate and the amount of votes obtained as candidates and votes. Currently, there is only one column called column 1. I change this column as candidate. By clicking on the plus sign in the next column, I add another column. The name of this column, which is column 2, is removed and given as votes. Right. Now you can enter data into this table. For the candidate column, I give the name of the first candidate as Evelyn Carter. Since this is a word, we need to give it as a string variable. So here it is given as Evelyn Carter in inverted commas. In the votes column, it is typed as 0. We have finished entering data into this row. Now let's click the Add Row button. You can see the row in which I entered the data has been added to the table and another row has been obtained to enter the new data. Raj Raman is given here in inverted commas for candidate. As before, let's give 0 for votes. Now click on Add Row. In the next row, let's give Bob Carey for the candidate, and for the number of votes, let's give 0. Now click on Add Row again. Now we have created the candidates table. Now let's click back on data and create the voters table as before. We give the name of the table we are going to create as table name. Let's type as voters. Okay. Now we can create the table. We need two columns for the voter's unique ID and password given during registration as unique ID and password. Currently, there is only one column called column 1. I change this column to unique ID. By clicking on the plus sign in the next column, I add another column. The name of this column, which is column 2, is removed and given as password. Now let's click on back to data again. Okay, now we have finished designing the two tables.